Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Glad to have you here. Who caught the Virgin Galactic yesterday? You had to catch it on live stream. I couldn't find it on regular cable. It just wasn't there. But I did catch it on a live stream on YouTube, and it was interesting. I kind of say that, as I'm looking at this. I think the news really overdid it, because they're going to need to build a lot of spaceships to get the thousands of people that want to fly up the chance to do that. I also think they're going to need to drop that price dramatically if they want to send thousands and everyone into space, which is what their plan is. Anyway, hey, tell me what your comments are on this. It's interesting. You can catch this if you take a look at it. You can actually catch it. Let me share the screen here real quick with you so you can see what it is. I'm actually on the Virgin Galactic website right now. This is what we do on Sundays when I can't trade the stock market and I don't see a signal in cryptocurrency. Is we find things to entertain us. And for me yesterday, for a little while, it was this. Interestingly enough, take a look at this thing. 4 minutes. Going up in an airplane, going 42,000 feet in the air, I think I've come close to that several times. But to accelerate to the altitudes that they did, and I'm just going to fast forward this a little bit and kind of show you. Here you go. Here's 31,000 feet. As we get into the trading day, which I'm going to be getting into with you here shortly. But let me toggle on here so you can see my arrow. There you go. Altitude, speed, etc. Push that thing forward. Boy, it was fast, guys. When you see the highlights, 22,000, 12,000. You have to back up a little bit. Here's where things were getting, we're coming down off of 250,000 feet in the air. 4 minutes. In fact, I don't even think they had 4 minutes. I think they were in and out. When you take a look at the time, that was a little bit higher up here on the screen. But anyway, you can catch it all on Virgin Galactic's website if you want to see it. I bring this up because there was an interesting trade that I took based on this happening. Actually, a couple of trades. I'm going to be sharing that with all of you here in the live stream. Let's cut this off. Let's get to stock charts in just a moment. And let's really get into what it is I want to cover with you here today, because I do have a lot to cover with you on our live stream. So let me just find the one that I do want to discuss with you. There it is. Hey, that's what live is all about, guys. Hey, welcome to the program, everyone. Glad you're here. I had a couple things go wrong last week. I had a couple things go right. Let's talk about the wrong real quick as we talk about what it is we do here. You guys that are brand new with me, want to welcome you to our program. It's exciting to do this I do it every week at noon, for the foreseeable future. What I do here is, for those of you that are new, I show you how to spot opportunities, rules-based opportunities, and then create alternative risk trades out there simply that I think are alternative to buying stocks and going long. Last week, I could tell you one of my blunders was in oil. So I took a trade in U.S. oil. Pattern was typically down after the 4th of July, but we caught a few bids and we ended up going higher. I actually had a good day the day after, but then there was a turnaround. Turnaround happened Thursday and Friday is what really hit me there. So stop losses kicked in, got out of those trades. But you know what? A lot more was happening for me on the right side. We'll talk about that too when we get into the charts. But today is all about spotting opportunities. I'm going to show you an opportunity that I've been talking about on here for the last couple of weeks, using something called my expensive options report, how I use that on Friday and combine that with this big space race, this billionaire space race, and why I think it might not be over yet. All right, so we'll look into that, show you what I did, creating that what I call low risk or alternative risk trade, and then planning, executing, managing that trade. We're going to look at that here as well. So a lot I want to cover. Before I get going any farther, guys, we talk a little bit about what it is we do here. And I do talk about, this disclaimer. I'm just going to put it up here real quick. Not going to talk about it. Just going to mention two quick things. Of course, if you want to read this in its entirety, all you got to do is just hit pause on the live stream. But two quick things, which you probably already know. Number one, stock options and crypto. All right. Those are, and they have large potential rewards, but they also have large potential risk. And number two, I'm not your money manager. I'm not your investment advisor. I'm here to show you how it is that I navigate and trade these markets. So glad to have you guys in here, checking in with me here today. I see all the comments coming in from everybody. Again, great to see you all here again. And please share comments with me. I'll get in and out of them throughout the hour. So let's first get into really what it is I want to cover with you here today. And that is, the space race. More importantly, let's get an overall. Let's get the 250,000 foot view of the overall markets. All right. Let's talk a little bit about what happened last week. And then let's dive into what I want to talk to you about today. So let's start with SPY. I've got a 20-day chart on here. And 20-day chart, when I say 20 days, we're really going back about a month. Right, 20 trading days on the chart here. And as you can see, what I've got on the chart in front of me here, and I've got it blown up for everybody to see here. Take a look at where we were. We started the middle of June out around the 426 area. S&P had a long time getting above that mid 420 range. But I got to tell you, by the time we hit the last week of June, and I mentioned this last week, all it took was me getting out of the office and going to Oregon to see the markets really start to accelerate and get to the upside. Here we are today. Once again, another up day in the market. And we're ushering in earnings. And I'm not going to cover earnings too much here today. We'll look and see what the beginning of earnings season is going to look like next week on next week's live stream. We'll talk about earnings next week. But, we are ushering in Q2 earnings. But right now, we've got really nothing out there. I mean, you look at the news that's come out this weekend, and really all it was, the biggest news article was Sir Richard Branson, flying into space for 4 minutes with 3 crew members, and also starting and ushering in, the big contrast were a lot of people, I saw comments that said the real astronauts have to be rolling their eyes right now that they can't believe that you can go into space for 4 minutes and get your astronaut wings. But on the other side, and I want to mention this was, I believe, the first time that there were civilians that went into space and did not have suits on. I mean, yeah, they had suits on from the neck down, but that cabin was pressurized like an aircraft. And if it could go 250,000 feet, could it have additional boosters on it to take it even farther? I think that if they really wanted to impress me and to impress the world, circle the earth one time. That would have been a big impression on me. But you know what? Hey, small steps, right? So, coming into today, and I was watching the markets last night, really just got, we didn't see anything coming down really hard. S&P was up a couple of points, and then we just continued to rise into the morning. And here we are, before noon, and S&P is up 15 points, and the Dow's up almost 100 points. NASDAQ's up as well. And as you can see, the chart just, until we get some real concrete news, I think the path of least resistance takes the S&P up to potentially 4,500, which would be 450 on this move right here. Last week, we talked about the money calendar. And if I were to bring up the money calendar right now, and I'll do it right now with everybody, just as a refresher, going into the tools, take a look and see what's going on here with money calendar. And I'm just going to give you the overview. All right. So here we are coming into the 12th, the third week of July. Third week of July looks, for the most part, green. We've got green on the screen all the way to the 16th. Then the colors start to change. So if you were to take a look at how you would equate this emotionally, now I'm not an emotional trader, But you got to remember, if we're going to be rules-based traders, we're trading against emotion a lot of the time. So the emotion on this screen looks like everybody is excited. Everybody's happy. The markets are just going to move slowly to the upside. And you're going to see a lot of bearish folks kind of roll over and feel like they're missing out, that fear of missing out getting into the markets. Then we're going to start to see some earnings come out. And even if they beat expectations, how much are they going to have to beat for this market to continue to move higher? I mean, we've had such a great move this year and such a great move last year off the bounce. How much more are we likely to get? Now, a lot of the bulls will say, where else are you going to put your money? I can't argue with that. But I, as a trader, am starting to turn my stance a little bit more from straight out bullishness to more of a neutral type of strategy. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we go forward. But we head into next week, things, and especially the last week of July, things are likely to get a little bit dicey as earnings, I believe, are that these lofty expectations are going to be met, maybe beat a little bit, but I don't think we're going to see the kind of numbers that are going to push Wall Street to just continue to buy more into this market. What do you think, guys? Give me a shout out here. What do you think this month's earnings or this quarter's earnings are going to reveal to us? Are we going to see continued market highs? Or are we going to see the market start to roll over? What do you believe is going to happen? Share your comments here. And by the way, if you want to do something for us on the channel, as you're all coming into the channel today, hitting that like button is going to really help support this channel. All of our proceeds this year, as they did last year, are going to charity. And so, we make charitable donations almost on a monthly basis here, and your support to that really helps out. Also, I want to let those of you that don't know this, let me in on something else we do too. We do have super chat donations, and all of our super chat donations, if you donate to the channel, those go to charity as well. I don't need the money, all right? So we push all of those proceeds straight to charitable organizations. All right, so let's take a look at the overview right now. So I was looking at the S&P. What's going to support the S&P going higher for the week, for the next week, or maybe the next couple weeks before earnings start to really kick in? Well, what I like to do is, those of you that know me know I like to take a several thousand foot view of the overall markets. And by doing that, we look at what are the bonds doing. Bonds are really kind of caught in, we saw the lows on TLT at 141. We saw the highs on TLT at around 149. Seeing the bond market really get back here to the mid 140s is absolutely, I think that confirms the market's really getting into a doldrum. And if I were to back up for a moment, the other thing I'm looking at is I'm looking at this red line right here. Now, the red line, when we were at 434 last week on the S&P, we dropped down to an area of 8.5, 9 on volatility. We kicked up to 13 as the market had a little bit of a spill off last week. But then since the rebound, and it's been quite a big of a rebound for the last couple of days, the market's, the volatility has come back down. We are sitting at around 11. This getting at and below 10 does raise my flags a little bit for potentially that pullback that everybody's been looking for. And when I mean everybody, I mean a lot of the bears were looking at the market crashing in April. Then they said, oh, wait, no, it's sell in May and go away. We talked about on this channel why sell in May and go away may not work this year. And then it was June. And now it's July. And a lot of bears, and I'm seeing them. I'm seeing Elliott Wave strategists that have been saying pullbacks coming, pullbacks coming, pullbacks coming. You know what they're doing now? Now they're starting to revert themselves and say, oh, wait, no, it's not a pullback. It's an extension. And when we start to see more and more of these folks roll over and say they were, and maybe not admit they're wrong, but start to say that we're on the bullish camp, that's a reason in my mind to start looking at neutral opportunities. I'm still staying bullish, but I'm also looking at bearish opportunities. I call it bullarish. You've heard me talk about this on the live stream before. So, back to the bonds. Bonds really are kind of creeping in between the highs and the lows. What's the U.S. dollar looking like? Well, U.S. dollar in the last month actually firmed up a bit, and it has dropped off in the last few days, but it doesn't seem like it wants to go away without a fight. As you can see, we're up near the high 24s. Again, if you've ever traded this this market, if you've ever traded UUP, it's like watching grass grow. I don't trade this. I utilize this to trade the stock market with. As it goes higher, it makes me believe that traders are getting out of risky assets and getting into fixed instruments. As it goes lower, we see the opposite happening. USO. Okay, here was my problem. Let's take a look at what happened last week. I mean, we really, we were looking at that 4th of July. And here we are. Here's Tuesday. You saw me talk about it. We did see USO go from 50.5 down to near 48. I was looking for 47. Guys all remember that. Remember I was looking for 47? It was looking really good the day after we had that conversation. As we went from just below 50, we dropped down to 48.5, and I thought, one more day, 2 perhaps, and I'm out of the trade. Well, one more day saw a turnaround, and then the day after that, we saw the gap up, and that took me out of the trade because I ended up taking a loss. Hey, losses happen. This is a business where you need to understand losses are going to happen, and you got to deal with them. And I like to deal with losses early and not late. So sometimes I'm late, sometimes I'm early, but typically with losses, and I'm going to do a video that I talk about your frequently asked questions this week. It spurred off of last week's video I did on fixing losing positions. And there were some questions in there about losses. There were some questions that came to me about what type of option trades I do. There was also one question that said, what do you see the majority of people doing right now that they could be doing differently? I've got that and more coming up, and that's going to be on a video I'm going to be doing on Wednesday this week. So anyway, take a look at USO. USO could be rolling over. I got to tell you, I am not looking to jump right back into USO again until we come back down to around the 48.5 level. We get down to 48.5, I might jump into the bearish trade once again. But right now, there's nothing on my list. I was looking for a very short-term trade. And the thing is, the move happened. And it was only it only took 2 days. And then it was gone just as fast as it happened. I was expecting a little more. So, GLD. Okay, so this is one where last month we were at 175. We dropped down into the low 160s. I added to this position. You all know I added to this position. I added to it again last week. In fact, on Friday, I sold more puts on GLD, looking to take more GLD in. And so I'm right around where we are right now, not making anything, not losing anything, but I like to be a short-term seller of these on a regular basis. And that's what we see happening with GLD. All right. Before I move into any other stocks, let's take a look and see what those of you out here had to say in the comment field. And let me just mention this too. If you have a stock that you want me to analyze for you real quick, and we'll take a look at it and see what's going on. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn on the channels right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at stocks for the next few minutes. And we're going to look at them on what I call a channel test. So a channel test is looking at stocks and seeing where they are in the long, short, intermediate term trends and channels. As you can see why I got really excited about GLD? GLD came into, there was an area right in here where we saw just below 165, an area to look bullish. Well, it took a couple days, but we hit that area and we've been bouncing off that. So I see us in this realm, this very tight area we are right now, which is just above 165, but I really like the 171 area the most when I'm looking at this chart, right? But let's see what you have to say about stocks that you're most interested in. We'll take a look at those real quick. And I see a lot of our regulars on here. And again, Pete's saying earnings should be strong. Torino says the rollover's coming. And then we're going to see higher highs. You know, I don't particularly disagree with that either, because again, you know, if you want to take both sides of the coin, which I am as a trader, you know, you look at typically these bear markets and these corrections come fast and furious, and then it's back to rolling over again. So you might say, turn the novice people over, shake them, and see if any change falls out before the long-term effect, which is where else are you going to put your money, comes back in again, right? Markets go higher as people go back to work, and Antonio, remember, the markets are always about 6 months ahead of what's happening out there. There are some, the biggest concern that was coming out over the weekend, all the news was focused around SPCE, Virgin Galactic, and the counterpart billionaires that are all racing to get to space. But if you were to look at any of the negative news came out, it was all Delta variant. And there's a meme that's going out there right now that basically, Corona is called Delta, and basically said, now it's your turn, because coronavirus was affecting, maybe not negatively affecting sales of Corona beer. And now, is it possible that the Delta variant could be affecting sales and ticket sales over at Delta Airlines? Who knows? Who knows how these go? But market goes higher as we go back to work. Apple's way too stretched. We'll take the market lower by month's end. That's what Jim's saying. All right, bonds have been moving higher, and they have been. And if you look at the longer term chart, I only had a 20-day chart up there, but bonds have been moving higher. Napoleon says, I got a feeling the rest of the year is going to keep going higher, at least stay where we are right now. And I think there is a section of stocks that I believe that's going to end up appealing to. My feelings are, when you look at Amazon, we're coming into earnings season with a lot of these stocks, and they've been on fire. I mean, Amazon, really, if you take a look at Amazon, let me just throw that one up on the screen because we're going to talk about Amazon today. But AMZN, take a look at the chart. And you're going to see, really, this one just propelled. It just in the last week or so, we went from, we were hitting 3,500 back down to below 3,150. And then we really came into a base at 32. We talked about Amazon, and I remember talking about this on our live stream, a recent one, where I said the next leg up is going to have to be done with e-commerce. It's going to have to be done with some of these FANG stocks. And that's exactly what we got. And Amazon came back up and just propelled off of 3,500. And here we are sitting now at above 37. And that was just a big jump up in a short amount of time. Where do we go here? Does Amazon stretch into earnings? We're going to talk about that one next week. We're going to look at earnings cycles and see stocks that particularly like to go up ahead of their earnings cycles. Is Amazon one of them? We'll discuss it next week. But Amazon definitely is one of the reasons why you're seeing acceleration, not only in the overall stock market, but in technology and e-commerce as well. Now, someone was mentioning Apple, and I'm going to bring up Apple because Apple came back to the party in the last 20 days too. And you can see here, and we talked about this big move that Apple had as it went from below 125 to hitting new highs today before pulling back. And we're going to see that, we're going to see that these gap ups with slight pullbacks, and that might become the norm as we head into next week. And I would say that if we see jump ups and pullbacks, and this continuing to happen, it could really tell us that we're in line for at least a short-term pullback as we head into the end of the month. But again, time will tell. Hey there. Wondering what our thoughts are on NVIDIA. Let's take a look at NVIDIA real quick. So NVDA, and again, what I've got on the screen right now is we're looking at charts. We're looking at these channel charts. And when I look at channel charts and I bring up a new stock, I'm going to get separation of channels. But what I'm going to do with our software is I'm going to run a channel test. And that's where we layer these channels on top of each other. And NVIDIA is it's just really been smoking it. 4-for-1 split on the 19th. All right, so here we are today. Today's the 12th, all right? So we're going to hit the 16th. The 19th is going to be the following week. It's going to be next Monday. And if you take a look at NVIDIA, and I'm going to bring in a shorter term chart here. I want to look at that 20-day chart. And I want you to pay careful attention to 850 and 900, because if you look at 850 and 900, 850 is where the short-term resistance runs today. Close to 900 is where that longer-term resistance is. I would say that this stock, short-term, I see it going higher. I see it heading higher short-term. And then if we were to take a look at just the stock chart itself, so let's go and bring up just stock chart first. All right, so let's update stock chart. 20-day price. Earnings are in 37 days, so the earnings don't come out until August 18th. All right, that's the projected earnings announcement. Stock split, well, hey, they're saying it's going to happen on the 19th. A lot of these events, I find them to be buy the rumor, sell the news events. So the next thing we want to look at is if you're looking at doing the opposite of most people, then you want to run that 7 to 30-day implied volatility number. And we want to see what that looks like. Now, this is the IV. This is not the stock chart price. But you can see back in mid-June, IVs were trading in the low 30s. Now we're trading in the high 30s. 730-day shows a 41.02, right? So this is up quite a bit here just in the last couple weeks. Now, if I want to overlay that, so let's put the stock chart up. And again, why am I looking at this? Because as an option trader, I want to know whether or not I want to buy options. And so as the stock's been moving higher, especially the last couple of days, we're seeing that uptick in implied volatility. We did get a pullback, but this one tells me that running the weekly option and playing the weekly option or even the weekly spread might make some sense here, because you know that more and more people are going to hear about the stock split, not today, not tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, and they're going to jump in ahead of time, or they're going to all dive in when the stock actually splits. And if that's the case, then we buy that rumor, and once that stock split occurs, we sell that news. And you don't sell that news the day of, you sell the news after the stock split occurs, because you're going to have a lot of folks come in and they're going to say, oh, 4-for-1 stock split. That means I get the stock cheaper. They don't understand market capitalization. All they see is the price just dropped by 75%. So now they can pick it up much, much cheaper. They're going to pick it up for maybe $200 a share or something in the high 100s. And then after that happens, if history repeats itself, we will see a little pullback, because the retail public will then take a lot of the stock that's going to be offered by the smarter traders. Hey there, thank you very much for that comment. Let's take a look and see what we got going on here. How about two more? Let's take a look at Microsoft. Again, Craig, I don't recommend stocks. What I do is I set them up and I look to see if there's any opportunities that look interesting to me. And then what I'll do is I'll look at any type of option opportunities. But let's go ahead and take a look at Msft. Msft. Let's put it on the screen. And so here you go. Microsoft also hitting, coming up and just coming off of highs for the year. They've got earnings coming out in 9 days. So, if I were an earnings trader, you know what? You guys are going to make me do it, aren't you? You're going to make me do it. Gonna make me do it. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. There's a neat little thing that, and you know what? Let's put the shameless plug up real quick, which is for those of you that have never tried a 2-week trial to our trading tools. I'm gonna show you why you might be interested in doing that right now. There's a link in the description below, but take a look at this. This is something that we can do that I don't know where you can find this kind of information anywhere else, but I'm gonna show you right now. So if I go to stocks, and I'm going to get real zoomy in here. And I'm going to go to analysis. And under stock analysis, we can analyze high lows. We can analyze sectors, gyrations, dividends, correlations, stock volume, earnings effects. All right, I got a market overview as well. Earnings effects. Let's take a look at the earnings effects for Microsoft. And I want to see if there's anything in Microsoft, as you can see here. I'm just going to go ahead and throw in Msft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and see, and I've got all these criteria that I can do over here, but I've already kind of, our illustrious programmers have already pre-programmed a couple things for me. What I want to see is, I'm in research mode right now. I want to see what the best price change is before earnings, the week before, and I want to look at the last 4 earnings cycles, at least, if we've got them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to hit the search key. So what am I searching on? What did Microsoft's earnings do the last 4 cycles. What happened before those cycles? Here's what we got. Msft. I can look at a chart. I can look at pictures. I can look at news. This is what I want to look at here. So heading into earnings, on average, this stock has moved up during that week about 4% prior to any earnings announcement. So if you take a look quarter by quarter, the most recent quarter, we saw a 1% move in the stock before earnings. The quarter before that, we went up 4%. The quarter before that, we actually dropped 2%. And 4 quarters ago, we were up 4%. So 3 of the last 4 quarters, Microsoft has gone up 3 of those 4 times before the earnings announcement even came out. The fact that we're sitting near highs for the year makes this a very interesting analogy. So if I were looking at this and I were saying to myself, okay, 75% of the time Microsoft actually went up prior to those earnings, then it's just a matter of me coming over and jumping into perhaps my brokerage account. And I'm going to look at Msft. I'm not going to take this because I don't do front running. I'm not going to front run you, Craig, or anybody else. But what I'm interested in looking at is when do the earnings come out? In 9 days, okay? And so once again, let's pop on over and let's just take a quick look at the estimated days to earnings, all right, are in 9 days. So the next earnings date is the 21st of July. I want to make sure I'm out of any option. If I want to get in and kind of snipe those folks coming in before earnings, I want to be out before the earnings announcements are made. So I want to be out prior to this earnings day announcement. Now, Microsoft typically announces earnings after market close. So if I want to go look at what type of options are available, and maybe I'm going to buy calls, and then I'm going to look and see what options am I interested in? Well, I want the options that go through earnings. I just don't want to go through earnings. So if I look at the options that expire on the 23rd, those options will include all those folks who are going to be jamming in to get those earnings. The 23rd is on a Friday. When's the 21st? On a Wednesday. This company should report earnings on Wednesday. All right. When do I want to get in? Now's a good time to be thinking about it. All right. Because I typically look at that week to 2 weeks prior to earnings, and I like to get into these things when no one else is thinking about them. You know when everyone's going to be thinking about Microsoft? Next week, when all that's going to be talked about is Microsoft and any other stock that's got an earnings coming out that week. I like to get in the week prior before mainstream media starts talking about it. What I'm looking for is even if the stock price just goes up a little bit, you know what else is going to go up? Volatility, implied volatility, time premium on those options. I want to show you one more thing. Let's take a look back at that earnings effect ranker one more time. This time what I want to do is I'm going to go back to the wizards, and I'm going to ask the grand wizards, what did the implied volatility do the last 4 earnings cycles? What did the options premium do? All right, that not the real value, the time value. What did the time value do prior to earnings? Again, something that we can run a search on Microsoft. And there you go. In less than 1 second, I get the answer. Come on down. Take a look at this. Now, this is the implied volatility. This is the options volatility, which shows me on average, these options have averaged going up about 20% in time premium, that IV going up. So let's look back and see what happened. 3 of the last 4 quarters, we saw Microsoft's options going up prior to earnings, 19%, 44%, 20%. And then 4 quarters ago, for some odd reason, it went down 17%. So there's no guarantee that option premium is going to go up before earnings. But again, I'm a pattern trader. And what we've learned here about Microsoft, and I'm sorry I went into this in great detail for those of you that are not following Microsoft, but this is a way that I trade patterns. Everyone else is out there right now, Craig, and they're saying, well, what's going to happen after earnings? I like to say, what has happened before earnings? And can I go in and shave a little bit off between now and before that event happens? All right. It's kind of like going to the Super Bowl. You got 2 tickets on the 50-yard line, and you don't want to go to the Super Bowl. You want to stand out there in front of the stadium, and you want to scalp those tickets. The best time to sell tickets to a great event is right before kickoff, right before the start of the event, because that's when you're going to get the most price. You see any scalpers selling tickets at the Super Bowl after halftime? Typically, they're going to get less for that pair of tickets at halftime than they would right before the kickoff. And that's what I'm doing. I'm scalping tickets. I'm buying them. I like to call it, fair value. And then I'm going out there selling 2 on the yard line. Selling 2 to Microsoft's earnings. Who wants them? Who wants them? And notably, right before that earnings report is when that fever pitch comes to a high. So again, where can you get this information? I don't know where else you can get it in this kind of a clean example, but I'm showing you right now. If you guys are interested in this, you've never tried our software out, then this is the place to get that, and it's at tomsoptiontools.com. Check out the description below. You can get a free 2-week trial. And earnings effects, once again, where do you get this at? What we do is we go to stocks, stock rankers, stock analysis. We've got rankers too. And you're going to come down to earnings effects. Plug your favorite stock in. You can see what happens to that stock as we go into earnings. I'll do this again next week as we're getting into earnings even more so. All right. So awesome. Great comment, by the way. And, thank you for the question, because that was definitely some fun sharing that one. All right. So yeah, buy the rumor, sell the news. Absolutely. And that's what we do with anything that's a contrarian trading strategy. Buy the rumor, sell the news is exactly what I did with Virgin Galactic. And I want to get into that right now, guys. Again, let's get into it. Before I do, I do want to spend I want to shave off a little bit of time talking about cryptocurrency. So I'm actually going to go to my crypto tools, and I'm going to go to the crypto charts, and I'm going to plug in Coinbase charts. And so I want to take a look at BTC. I'm just going to look at the big ones with you real quick. All right. BTC really just coming into consolidation. What is going on with this thing? I mean, if you take a look at it, you can see a lot of support down here in the low 30s, and we're seeing resistance going lower, lower, lower. It's possible we could see another drop down, shake the trees, shake the novice trees, see what coins fall out, and then that could be a pickup for long-term investors. All right. The other thing I want to mention is if we take a look at this on Fibonacci, you can really, the lines all come up quite well. I've been talking about a need to get up here into the low 40s to see really where this, where we could possibly see buying coming back in right now. Right now, attention is turned away from cryptocurrency. What's going to turn that attention back to cryptocurrency? Who knows? I mean, there's good news that's happening with cryptocurrency all the time. But you got a lot of traders that are cycling out that are looking for that next move to get back in. And that could be a drop, or it could be just a sideways move for an elongated part of time. So that's what we see going on with BTC. Take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum did stage a bit of a rally over the last week or so, the last couple of weeks, as we bounced off of 1,800, and we got up into the low 20s, 22. I think I saw almost 2,400 before pulling back. And now we could be rotating right back down to those lows again. I would say 2,000s now as round number support. 1,810, that's the big support number for Ethereum. I thought I'd throw that out there real quick because, again, talking about cryptocurrency, I'm going to be looking for crypto buys this week in all of the other coins. And so what I like to look for is buys in 2 areas: channel formations, and I also look at moving averages. I'm a big fan of the 1030 moving average cross, right? But I like to layer those 2 things together, and I like to see, are we hitting support? Are we bouncing off support? All right. And again, the other thing I'm looking at is things like not so much resistance, but channel support as well. What are the channels telling me? Most importantly, the short-term and intermediate-term channels, because we all know what the long-term channels are now. They've reverted themselves. They're now down, right? And then more importantly, are there some cryptocurrencies? Are there some microcurrencies out there that are bucking the trend? Now, don't think for a minute that that avoiding stocks like, that I avoid stocks like Coinbase or Riot Blockchain. In fact, I actually don't trade Riot Blockchain, but I do trade Coinbase a lot. And I'm looking at Coinbase, and that one I'm a long-term holder of. And I've been buying down on Coinbase. Yes, I'm down on Coinbase, but I've been buying down on Coinbase by virtue of selling puts. So I'm taking premiums in. Some premiums I've ended up with stock. Other premiums have expired worthless, and I've just been putting those in the piggy bank. So although I am down on Coinbase, I've been making up for that position by selling some out of the money put options and just not getting the stock put to me. So let's dive into the other portion of what I want to discuss with you guys, and that is we did get into the overall stock market, cryptos. Let's talk about the billionaire space race. So what most of the world saw as 2 or 3, let's call them 3 billionaires, all right? Sir Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. All right, now Elon Musk may not be looking to jump to space real quick. There seems to be some bromance going on between Elon Musk and Sir Richard Branson. But all 3 of these guys have big money invested into the outer edges of space, right? Richard Branson is looking at tourism and payloads. Jeff Bezos is looking at mostly payloads, but also tourism on the back end. And Elon Musk is looking at payloads, and payloads, not only for defense and the space industry as a whole, but the consumer, most notably with Starlink. And I actually can't wait to see what Starlink brings, although I'm not going to be a quick jump to Starlink. I think Starlink has to come down. They're already selling Starlink right now. They're going to put $5 billion into Starlink, I think, as a minimum. I think Elon Musk and whatever company they end up putting Starlink to, they're going to have to put a $5 billion price tag on to get that going. So when do they get that back? Well, when you sell satellite equipment that costs $1,000 for $500, that's not a way of getting that back. All right. They're looking at monetizing on the back end. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to have to partner up with one of these cell phone companies, if not all of them, and basically say, hey, you know what? We know you're not crazy about putting 5G out in the middle of national forests. We know you're not crazy about putting 5G out in the rural areas because you're going to have to subsidize that cost by charging more to the urban and suburban consumer. How about we pick up that part and we do a Starlink? We use Starlink as a way of getting to that subscriber. We'll charge you less than it would cost you to put the hardware up there. And so then it's a win-win. It's a win for Starlink. It's a win for AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, or any of the other data providers that are out there. Right? I'm actually looking at a data provider right now for my expedition vehicle, and it's Visible. I think is the one I'm gonna try out first and see how that works. And I'll let you guys know on certain videos how that works. My goal is to be able to trade from literally anywhere, and kind of take you on the journeys that me and the family go on. So let's talk about, more importantly, I'm tying these together, and I'm saying let's take a look at last week's AMC and this week's SPCE. Now, what I'm talking about here is that if you've been following me, a lot of you have, I've been showing you how to trade AMC, not the ways of the emotional traders, not the ways of the space apes, of the diamond hands, okay? I don't have diamond hands, sorry. My hands they're calloused. They're not diamond, but they're calloused. I look at option trading as a way of looking at high probability events when it comes to some of these huge movers. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Let's come on back to charts, and I want to go back to our tools, and I want to go not to crypto charts, but let's go back to the stock charts. And the stock charts I want to look at is I want to start with AMC. See what AMC's been doing the last 20 days. Oh, I got to tell you, I mean, I don't know how people hang on to something that they bought for $60 as a stock, and it's now down in the 40s. And they're continually being told, buy more, buy more, buy more. Hey, listen, if those of you happen to be watching my channel and you own AMC and you still want to own AMC, I'm going to suggest you go back and look at my last week's video on how to fix a losing stock, because you can definitely do it with AMC. You can definitely do it, all right? Details are in last week's video and involves something called a ratio spread. I would urge you that if you are whether you're a Gen X or a millennial or a Gen Y or somebody that's got into the stock market and you're throwing money into AMC, here's an idea. Take a look at how to fix this stock, how to add to this position without adding any extra cost or risk. Now that that's been said, let me talk about how I've been making money with this. So take a look at this stock right now, and you can see over the last 20 days, we have a high, we have a low. The high has been somewhere around 60. The low has been in the 40s. What I have been doing with this stock, in fact, let's take it back 40 days, because I really got to show you a little bit more than just a high and a low. You need to see the bounces. And here's the bounces. You know, we had a bounce up, a bounce down, a bounce up, a bounce down. So we've bounced down to 40 below. You know, we've been below 40, not just last week, but we were there last month. We were there in May. And it's, you know, we've had that bounce back and forth. Now, generally, as a contrarian trader, I see this going down, right? We may see some days where it's going to pop up because you see a lot of those diamond hands coming in and buying. They're going to push it higher. But I don't see this stock going to new highs anytime soon. There's going to be a tug of war here. And you can play the tug of war a couple of different ways. You can look at channels, buy on the low, try to sell on the high. You could short this stock if you can. I can't even short it. I can, but I got to call my broker in order to get into this. Or you could play the neutral trade, and the neutral trade looks like something like this. I like to be a seller up here, and simultaneously, I like to be a buyer down here. I like to be outside of all the movement, and I like to take in that premium. And I've been doing that the last couple of weeks. So as I came into Friday, let me share with you what I'm talking about here. As I came into Friday, and I got to bring up a new chart. And I'm going to bring up a new chart. I'm going to go to the option chains. And I want to bring up option chains on AMC. Here's our option chains on AMC, but I want to go back to Friday. I typically look at these on Friday, and I'm looking at the following Friday because I find that's when the options they're much higher priced on Friday than they are on Monday, is what I've typically seen. So let's go to that 7-9, and I see over here, I see that I can't trade Friday options on Friday if I'm going to trade for a week. I've got to look at the next week. So I'm going to activate the options that expire on July 16th. And I want to look at those. And I want to look at them on AMC. And I really need to look at them about 30 or 40% above and below where the stock's trading at right now, because these have expensive premium. So as I did weeks ago, as I did last week, and as I was doing coming into this Friday, I was looking for one of those trades. Now, what I saw was I was looking at the 40s, and I'm thinking, again, support at 40 and resistance somewhere around 65, 70. So if we have support at 40, what if I sell the 40 puts, right? I want to sell those 40 puts, but I need to buy something for protection. So let's come down and let's look at buying the 35s. That's a bullish trade. It's called a bullish put spread. Now, on the call side, I'm going to run all the way up here, and let's just see how far this goes. Wow. Okay, so I could sell the 60 calls, the 60s, and then might have to sell the 59 halves. Let's do that because I want to make a 5-point option here. And I see that going up 40% is only going to get me to 64 half. So sell the 64s, buy the 64 halves. This is referred to as an iron condor. And an iron condor, I'm going to show you what this looks like both on the trade, as what the trade looks like, and then again, what the risk graph looks like. So first of all, what does the trade look like? Well, what I was looking to do on Friday was put a trade together that involved selling the 40 put and buying the 35. So what I'm basically doing is I'm selling premium and I'm reinsuring myself in case I'm wrong, right? Insurance companies do that all the time, right? You take a look at what happened last week. We had a tropical storm blow through, a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane that hit Florida, right, before turning back into a tropical storm very quickly and then running up the East Coast. So I'm sure there were a lot of insurance companies that were thinking to themselves, uh-oh, we're going to get claims on all these premiums we've been selling for the last several years on Florida. We're going to have to pay some out. What happens is that these companies will sell premium to, they'll sell insurance policies and hurricane insurance to houses all over the Gulf. And then what they do is they package all those together and then they go and buy one big policy just in case they get wiped out. They don't want to get completely wiped out. They're going to reinsure themselves. That's what I'm doing here. I'm selling insurance premium, but I'm reinsuring in case I'm wrong. And I do it to the downside, but then I'm looking to do it to the upside too. So what am I ultimately looking for AMC to do in this particular trade? Nothing. I don't want to, I'm okay with it going down. Just don't go below 40. I'm okay with it going up. Just don't go above 59.5. And we're going to be happy. What am I going to get rewarded for that? Well, as of Friday, it was looking like $86 was if I did one contract of everything, all the buys and all the sells one time, $86 per spread contract, per iron condor. What am I risking on that trade? $414 if I'm absolutely dead wrong and AMC goes above 59.5 by Friday, or AMC goes down below, 35? I mean, that's a pretty wide trade. And this is what it looks like when you graph it. It looks like this. So what it's showing me is it says, all right, if we go down here below 40, all these profits you're thinking about making, well, they're going to turn into losses. And if we go up above 59, same thing's going to happen. What we're looking at here is what the price of AMC's done in the past and how it affects the graph. So as long as we stay in this area here over the course of the week, then what's going to happen is my trade is more than likely going to balloon out and I'm going to make that $86. But if we drop down really hard, I could stand to lose, again, the $414. That's a reward to risk ratio that's not the best. But I got one more thing I want to look at. What is the statistical probability that this stock is likely going to stay in that range? And that's where I come down to the bottom here. And I see that by the end of the week, based on what we're seeing as far as movement, this particular stock has a 91.2% chance of being at break even or better. And it tells me that based on that 91% chance, again, that there's only 29% chance that this thing's going to be up to $59.93, and there's only a 14% chance that it's going down to $39.57, my break evens. So I factor all of this in, and I want you to think about this. Let's talk about flipping coins for a moment. If you're flipping coins, let me put the big screen up. This is important. If you're flipping coins and you have a 50-50 chance of being right and wrong, and if you win, you make $1, and you lose, and if you lose, if you hit tails, you lose $1, you're not making anything on that. It's basically, unless you have a two-headed coin, it's just going to break even over time. Now, what if you're flipping the coin and 2 times it comes up heads and 1 time it comes up tails, and the 2 times you win, you make $1, and the 1 time you lose $1? That's a fantastic 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio out over time. Now, what if 90% of the time, 9 out of 10 times you're a winner and 1 out of 10 times you're a loser? The 9 out of 10 times you make 10 cents and the 1 out of 10 times you lose 90 cents. That's a break even over time. I want you to think about those numbers for a moment because we're going to plug them into today's graph here. So what I'm looking at, let's go to the top of the graph again for a moment. And you see here, this is all the data I need to know. This is roughly 20% between the reward and risk ratio. So I can make 20%, but I could lose 80% of the spread. You guys see what I'm talking about there? Make 20, lose 80. All right. But again, my probabilities tell me, let me bring it in. I'm going to bring it back out again, that by the end of the week, I have a better than 90% chance I'm going to make 20%, but there's a 10% chance I could lose 90. Do the math on that. That has positive expectancy over time. That's what I like to see. Now, did I ultimately take this trade on Friday? Yeah, I tried to. I just didn't get filled. As we got closer to expiration, this 86 dropped. In fact, no. Now my recollection's getting a little bit better. I tried to do this for $1. Take in $1, risk 4. It dropped to 86 by Friday's close. I did not get filled. So then I said to myself, is there anything else out there? If I can't get AMC as we're getting to the close, what else out there is everybody talking about? Is everybody getting into? Or what are all the diamond hands doing? I didn't even have to look. I didn't have to go on anybody else's YouTube channel. I didn't have to go to the emotional channels. The fear, the greed, the hopium channels, I like to call them. All I had to do is something that I offered to all of you. I don't know how many times I offered it. I offered and I'll talk about it again. All right. I offered a free app to everybody out there. Well, it's an app that a lot of my premium subscribers have, but there is a button within that app that everybody has access to, whether you're a tools member or not, and that's called our morning report. So if you download TG Suite, and then down at the bottom, if you don't subscribe, if you go to non-subscriber, all right, fill out that information. That's going to take you to the morning report. There's 6 different lists on the morning report. I hit the expensive list on Friday afternoon. Look what came up as number 1. Let me point it to you. SPCE, Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic over the last year has had a high implied volatility. That means its option premiums were very, very expensive. The low was expensive, but not anywhere near the high. But look where Friday's numbers were coming in at, 181. And I said to myself, you know what else I saw? AMC was no longer on that list. It was on that list last week, but it dropped. But we saw SPCE, Stamps.com, ANAT, ICLR, and soybeans. The commodity was also on that list. All right, I got to blow it up a little bit more. I see what's going on here. So take a look at these. SPCE. You see what I did next to it? This is what I did. I did the Iron Condor for SPCE, and I did get filled, because if I didn't get filled, you wouldn't see these numbers. This was as of about 11 a.m. this morning. So what did I do? I bought the 35 puts. I paid 61 cents. I sold the 35 puts for $1.01. I also sold the 65 calls for $2.63, and I bought the 70 calls for $2.07. Look how close together. I mean, the volatility was off the charts here. But I was able to do this trade. You take a look here, you can see there was about 40 cents right here, all right, between selling and buying. And over here, there was a 50, what was it? 63, 7, 50, what is that? 56? 56 cents and 40 cents. So I actually ended up doing this trade for 56, 40, 96 cents. And I was actually going in for 95. I actually got filled for 96. So 96 cents. Now, you can see the trade right here. I did this 10 times, all right? No biggie, because I do other trades too. So I'm looking at this one. I did this Friday, and it got filled Friday afternoon right before the close. Monday morning, where are we? Out of a possible nearly $1,000, $960, I had already taken in $543. This trade was, you know why these were so high? Because Sir Richard Branson was going up in space. And option traders were bidding this up because they were thinking What if something went wrong? That's why all the puts were going up in value. You know why all the calls were going up in value? Because there were a lot of call buyers that were saying they're going to have a fantastic flight. This thing is going to be up big on Monday. The option traders, the smart ones, were saying this thing is wildly overpriced. Let me sell some calls up here. Let me sell some puts down here. Let me buy outside of that for some protection. Let me create an insurance strategy, which is what I did. Already taken in more than 50% before noon. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And I wanted to share also that you can get this information. This information is out there. I'm giving it away free to everyone who has not experienced what, really real option traders look at. We've got unusual call volume on there. We've got unusual put volume on there. We've got expensive and cheap options. And we've got high volume and high open interest. And this is all available to the entire community, regardless of whether you are a tools user or you're one of our premium subscribers or not. I put it out there for everybody. And that is the TG Suite, the morning report. So again, Iron Condor, I wanted to throw that out there for all of you. And what's SPCE doing today? I haven't even looked, but I was kind of on that buy the rumor, sell the news, that no matter how great this was going to be, that it was going to cause a drop in the price. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. All I'm looking at is how it affects me, and it's affecting me the way I expected it to affect me. But how's SPCE doing? Let's go ahead and take a look at a chart. So stock chart and AMC. We know AMC is kind of moving around. Oh, by the way, let me bring this up to the latest because I'm looking at Friday. So there's AMC dropping. How about SPCE? There were a lot of traders that got hot. I mean, so hot into this stock on Friday because they thought it was going to go higher. I feel it. I feel it. Hey, is there anyone on my channel right now that is here for the first time and is saying, I didn't even know you could do these kind of trades. I didn't know you could go against the herd. Anybody new? Who's a new subscriber out there? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know right now. Would love to say hi. Give me a shout out. I'll give you a shout out as well. Nina, those options were the Spce options. They were definitely high for the first, 15 minutes, maybe half an hour before the drop. But you can see this is what I'm looking at, guys. I'm looking at this area right here. You see what happened on Friday? That's where those options were on Friday, the implied volatility. And look where they are now. They've dropped down. I mean, 210 to now 140 something. Big drop there. All right. So again, great stuff there. Hey, Sandra, great to have you on. Again, and I'm going to say this to the new folks. This is not easy. All right. You can't just all of a sudden pick up today and be an option trader. Right. It's kind of like flying an airplane. I mean, there's for pilots, they go through hundreds, if not thousands of hours in the simulator before they jump into a plane, or they've got a coach along the way that shows them, how to throttle up, how to throttle down, how to pull the flaps out, how to pull the flaps back, things that I don't even know. All right. But, and I see, some of you are new and you're confused, and I get it, but I'm just going to say this. If you want to turn this into an emotional hobby, feel free. There are plenty of other channels out there that you can do that on. I mean, there's some of them that are live right now. I saw one of the guys that has a channel. I think he had 20,000 live viewers. I don't think they're very happy today because of that chart right there. Right there. The AMC chart. What's GME doing today? We could. I decided this channel was not going to be devoted to looking at what these stocks are doing all day, because that doesn't help anybody out. All right. So GME is sleeping. It's a sleeper today. All right, it looks like it might be bottoming out, but it's a sleeper today. But if you look at what all of these folks have been rolling into, it's all been AMC, and last week it was Virgin. Last week it was Virgin Galactic, and now Virgin Galactic. There's a lot of virgins out there now as traders that are now thinking twice about SPCE, as it is now down considerably today. All right. I mean, when you close at 50, and you're now trading down in the 42 area, help me out here. Is that not about an 18% drop in this stock price today? All right, so so there you go. I mean, and Magesh, good to see you, buddy. They are offering up that that $500 million stock offer too. That's going to flush out some of the folks as well, and they're going to need it because they're going to need. In fact, I think they're going to need a lot more than 500 million. So, Kimberly, thank you. Glad to have you on the channel. Phil, glad to have you on the channel. Appreciate it. Now and Lawrence, is now the time to sell the put side of SPCE. So that's a question. You know, when we say sell the put side, the puts are going to maybe go up a little bit more in value. But what's happening with my trade right now is we're seeing that implosion on implied volatility. That's dropping down. The time to sell options was up here. This is going to become, this I think will become very quickly more of an option buyer's market rather than an option seller. All right, so that's obviously something to look at as well. Billy, glad to have you on. Lucilla, glad to have you as a new new channel watcher. Again, guys, if you like what you see, I said this at the beginning of the live stream. I'm going to say it again now. If you like what you see on what we do on our channel, do me a favor, hit that like button below. And subscribe to our channel. We do about 2 to 3 videos a week. I'm now live podcasting on Thursday with special guests, so you're welcome to come in as well. Why do I think SPCE dropped so much? I'll tell you exactly why SPCE dropped so much. It has nothing to do with the fundamentals, even though the fundamentals are a little wacky right now. It has nothing to do with the technicals. This is all about buying the rumor and selling the news. Remember what happened with Dogecoin, all right? Dogecoin was going up, 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 and Saturday Night Live, that was the event that culminated with the high in Doge because it came back down. The event yesterday, which was Sir Richard Branson going into space, that was the event. The event's behind us. Now the sellers are coming out. It happens not almost every time, or not every time, but almost every time. That's a pattern, all right? Mario, thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate that. And we try to put as much information as we can out here that, that really helps out folks. I know if you're new, you're going to say, what the heck is going on here? But we have a rules-based trading approach. And my job here on the channel is really to help those of you who are new, become converts. Get out of the buy it and hope it goes up. Get out of the greed and fear mentality. I had my first wasn't my last fear and greed, but it was definitely one that I will always remember. And that was back during the market crash of '87. That was where I threw everything, threw caution to the wind, and I lost my entire account and then some, and I had to pay the broker back. I'll always remember that as if it was yesterday. I remember being on the corded phone, trying to get out of a trade I couldn't get out of. So anyway, guys, so thank you very much. And those of you that, are part of our Fast Fortune Club, thank you very much there. Obviously we do stuff with you weekly, if not almost daily. So I appreciate that. John, appreciate the comment. And so, again, guys, if I were to kind of sum everything up, which I typically do, I'll end with this. For those of you that are new with us and you want to check out our app, right? And you don't have to be a user of our software or any of our products. We have this app out there. Download the TG Suite app, and what you'll do is, if you're not a subscriber, go down to the bottom where it says, has login. Go down to the bottom, it says non-subscriber. Fill out the information there, and guess what? You have access to this area right here, the morning report. This changes every single morning. I look at this every single morning for potentially opportunities on both the cheap options and the expensive options, as well as unusual calls and puts, high volume, high open interest. That's all available for you right there. All right. Hey, finally, I want to mention this. Again, thanks to all of you who are here every single week that we do this. All right. Keep in mind, we do monetize the channel. I'm not going to beat around the bush there, but all of our profits for this particular channel, every single penny of those go straight. And we have a very, very small budget on this YouTube channel. All right. So all of our profits will go to charity. All of our super chat donations go to charity. All of our live streams, all of our podcasts, every single video that we do, all of that, we send that to charities, to various charities. And we talk about those charities on here on a monthly basis. So thank all of you very much for being part of the live stream today. I got a video coming out in the next day or two, which is a part 2 to the video we did last week on fixing losing positions. I will be getting into that a little bit more, as well as frequently asked questions. We had a lot of frequently asked questions that came up based on that video. So I took like the top 5 or 6 questions, and I'll be asking and answering them in that next video. I'm going to be doing a video pretty soon on the new rig that we put together. That's the TTR Mobile Trader. And I'll be sharing a tour of that along with some of the electronics, the technology we have in that. So it's going to keep me trading on the road wherever we end up going. And we're going to be doing a lot of tours across the country over the next year. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. And also don't forget our podcasts. We're not podcasting live Thursdays at 2 p.m. Typically, Chris Johnson joins me on those live podcasts where we just basically air out the week and we're talking to you in the live trading environment. So guys, hey, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you again soon. All right, bye now.